Fertile currents of this rock, as woman's mysteries flow in blood, altars of double spirals carve symbols of time returned, channels of ritual healing. In clairvoyant slumber, a priestess sleeps in trance. In this land of the cosmic mother, wisdom comes in dreams. Working on an island like Malta, you have a situation where, one, the materials are very limited. We have only one indigenous building material, which is the local limestone. But, on the other hand, it's a tremendous challenge, and I think it also sort of pushes architects towards trying to, what I've been trying to do all my life, is to find a contemporary expression which is very much suitable to the spirit of place of what is Malta, or what is the Mediterranean, at the same time adhering to the past, but also having a genuine contemporary expression. A geographical position which is drawn out in architectural terms, in terms of the meeting of the north and the south, in a sort of visual representation of the position in the Mediterranean. Now, it's also extremely interesting that in terms of language, we have exactly the same parallels. We have a Semitic origin language, which is the Maltese language, which is written in the Roman alphabet, and which I believe is the only Semitic origin language which is written in the Roman alphabet. So again, you have a manifestation of the geographical position of the island in both linguistic terms and also in architectural terms.
We're an island race. We're an island city, virtually. You can't really call it a country. It's a bit like Venice was. And I think we do tend to look into ourselves rather than outwardly. I wanted to move away from the idea of a traditional landscape because Malta is so small and land is limited and land is being used up, built up. So my view of the landscape narrowed down to a sliver because that's what's left, that's what I feel is left, and we should try to preserve it. Also, I feel Malta's history is bound up with its rock. The rock itself is made from crustaceans, which fossilized over the centuries, which gives you an idea of history in itself. Everything we do in Malta is made of stone, the bastions, the buildings. Stone is Malta. Now, when development takes away the spaces, stone, fields, it takes away history. So in a way, it is a cry of agony against overdevelopment. Malta is like a small stone in the Mediterranean, in the blue, in the sea. And again, you know, the whole idea is that we should preserve the rock, look at nature in a different way. It's also looking at nature, perhaps, which I shifted towards looking at nature, which I feel is very important, as against technology, gadgets, art which is related to video. I feel nature has a lot left to give art, an inspiration for artists.
Well, the wonderful thing about the stone is that when you actually cut it from the quarry, it's a very soft material. And then it loses its quarry sap, and in the process of losing its quarry sap, it actually dries up and grows a protective layer. But during the period of, say, 6 or 8 months after quarrying, it is in a very, very soft state, and it's almost biscuit-like. You can actually mold it, and that's a marvelous material. Yeah. And of course, it's almost never-ending. And the wonderful thing is, of course, there is this marvelous sense of continuity over thousands and thousands of years, ever since the first megalithic prehistoric temples were built. And it's marvelous to think that the guys who were building those temples used the same material that I'm using today to put up my buildings in Valletta. They are considered to be the first freestanding monuments or stone buildings put up. They predate the pyramids, and the extraordinary thing is that I think it is time that we look at these people who built these temples as no longer a primitive people, but a very sophisticated people. Also, the most wonderful achievement, of course, which very few people realize, is that they were a non-warmongering people. They were at peace with themselves, with their neighborhood, with the planet, and probably with the cosmos itself. There is not one trace of a weapon found during the 2,500 years of that civilization, which is a little bit more than we can say for ourselves today.
Feel the church on your back?
Yeah.
I feel God in my heart. Oh, really? And it makes me happy.
Seriously?
Yes, of course.
Oh, that's nice.
We're Catholics. We grew up in this environment, you know what I mean? And we have faith. We believe. You know what I mean?
Whatever makes you happy, basically. I mean, whatever.
As long as you're happy, as long as it's fulfilling and
harmony.
Are you a religious man?
Yes, very much so. Well, religious, I'm not sure I like the word religious. I'm a spiritual man. And in fact, I consider myself extremely lucky because throughout my career, I think I've built about 14 or 15 what I'd like to term sacred spaces. I believe that in architecture you're evoking not only the history of the buildings, but you're also evoking the spirit of place. I mean, the Malta buildings, on the whole, you'll find are very monochromatic because of the lack of color of the stone. Yeah. But if you walk into the buildings, especially if you walk into the churches, You have this great exuberance, which is very typical of the Latin Mediterranean temperament.
It's not very long since independence.
Not really. It was 1964. We've got a long way since then. We are quite an independent nation, so we stand alone now. It's very hard to define, but just by looking at a person, whether he's Maltese or not. Like me, for example, I'm half Irish. There's a lot of North African influence, Italian. We're a very, very mixed race. And we have the advantage we're multilingual, which I find good. I mean, most of us can speak 4 or 5 languages fluently. So although we are insular, I think we're probably one of the few countries really prepared, where the people are prepared to go out of the country. You know, we can easily go to Italy, France, North Africa, communicate, understand the mentality. We've been always sort of on the inside, but we've always have an outward-looking mentality, which is good.